Hey, what is going on, everybody? So today is going to be all about my changes to my current tier list, which you guys may have seen from previous months. And now that we are coming to the end of this patch cycle, I wanted to get this out there and let you guys know how I feel about the characters from this patch, but also some adjustments made to previous characters and where I think they fall now in the game's current meta. Not sure how long this is going to take, but let's not dilly-dally any longer. So without further ado, let's get this tier list started. Alright, so this is my new patch 5.1 tier list photo, courtesy of Tiermaker, which is actually up here. You know, if there's anyone out there that knows how to do infographics and can help me out, then feel free to reach out to me, although I'm terrible myself at these kind of things. So, unfortunately, we're going with this. I will make this available, though, in the comments, in the description below, if you're interested in checking out this photo on your own time. So, as you guys know, patch 5.1 brought us with the introduction of Bishop and Jubilee, the legendary for the Astonishing X-Men, on top of the Shadowland team with new characters White Tiger and Moon Knight, alongside some reworks for Daredevil, Night Nurse, and Elektra to work with this new tag. So to get started, we are going to be talking about these rework tier list adjustments. So Elektra was previously in the D tier. She was pretty trash before, but she was still kind of required for the Hand Catalyst event, and still kind of is. But her rework and inclusion in this new team has made her a little bit better, so we're going to be shifting her up to the C tier where she is now, which is pretty standard for most characters like this, especially supporting cast, you know, normally typically fall into the C category. She is made better with Shadowland, of course, but she's by no means a great standalone character, which would qualify for something higher than this. So congratulations, Elektra, on your slight promotion. Daredevil, of course, is kind of already in the C category. He's over here, so nothing really changes here, but he does get some better synergy with the Shadowland edition. However, a lot of this extra team synergy is sadly locked behind T4s, so while his base stats improved, you know, he's still definitely in that supporting cast role for the Shadowland team. Now, I did want to give a very honorable mention to Night Nurse, because previously, I'm pretty sure I had her in the E tier, which interestingly, back in the day, you know, pre-Minerva, she was the healer to use for all raids, really, but then she dropped off like a rock off a cliff edge. But I actually think her reworks have propelled her, you know, all the way up to B tier. So that's where she currently sits now, which is a huge improvement for her considering what she was before. Now, some of you might be thinking this is kind of crazy, but I have had the opportunity to see her firsthand and on the Shadowland team and a little bit outside of it as well. And I think the rework is actually pretty good. Unfortunately, the ultimate rework with the debuff flipping only works on herself and other Shadowland team members. Bit unfortunate there because, you know, if it was available to everyone, I actually think that she might even be higher than this. But the T4 in her special really adds additional healing and cleansing when using her, and at least that part can be used outside of the Shadowland team. And I think down the line she's going to be the premier healer for the skill lane of Doom Raid, unless they bring in a really powerful support character out for that later on. So congratulations, Night Nurse, on your huge promotion out of the crap tier and into the reasonably worth gearing section of the tier list. And before we get started on talking about why I placed the characters from this patch where I did, and I'm sure watching this you guys can already see some of them already, I want to talk about some adjustments I made this patch based on my thoughts on other characters and where I moved them around to. So I want to start off by talking about the Dad Bros, aka Shatterstar and Longshot. I previously had them in the A tier, but with the rumors of X Factor characters coming, potentially, I have decided to bump them up to the A+ category. Now, I still don't believe they are completely must-haves at the moment, but their potential is definitely very noticeable, and I think if they become farmable, they'll be a crazy force to be reckoned with. They have amazing kits and potential here with more team members, and I think if you haven't geared them up already, this is definitely a top consideration that you should have with your mutant gear from now on. I have actually also demoted Minerva from A+ to the A category. Now, this is by no means a knock against her, as she still is a very solid character, but outside of potentially using her in Dark Dimension 4, or Dark Dimension in general, she has kind of dropped out for me in other areas of the game where I don't use her daily like some of the other characters in those categories. So while she is amazing, and I recommend every new and mid-game player to have her geared up, she just isn't getting the daily use like she used to for me, but nonetheless, you know, still great and farmable, now in the War Store, unfortunately, among tons of other valuable characters. I'm also going to be giving Red Skull a bump from the C to the B tier, because I think more and more people are using hybrid teams, especially alongside Baron Zemo, to come up with some interesting counters for Marauders and other war teams. This is mainly for people who aren't using Hydra minions on defense, but there are quite a few interesting combos now, and my personal favorite being Hydrardians, which some of you guys might have seen on my channel, which is Zemo, Red Skull, Grenadier, Loki, and Hela. And this has performed quite well for me, but I know there are other mixes, including Dad Bros, and most likely others as well. So Red Skull gets a slight nod to me out of the C category for this usage. And Black Widow and Hawkeye are also getting an additional nod from me from promotions from C into B tier here. You know, due to their increases of usage with the Wave 1 Avengers, but also using them together in Dark Dimension 3 and 4 Global has become increasingly more popular. Even though I didn't do this myself and don't have them upgraded, I know people who have and are quite enjoying them there. And I also want to bring up the fact that in the most recent blog post that we have heard that Black Widow is going to be getting an additional rework with the military trait. So I am interested to see how she kind of evolves from that and whether or not she's actually going to get bumped up from B higher than that based on the rework they give her for this skilletary team. So we'll have to wait down the line to see how that actually ends up unfolding. We'll see. Shuri is also getting a demotion this time around, and I placed her here. So I moved her from the A tier to the B tier. While she still is a very solid support character, still I feel like people aren't upgrading her as much maybe 6 to 9 months ago when she was very common to be taken into Dark Dimension 3 Global. But with Ghost, I think this is less the case and not as much of a reason to take her in as a 4th or 5th character there. I hear she has some renewed use in Doom Raid, but I still don't think that she still needs to be in the A. But keep in mind that anything B or higher is still worth the resources and worth putting some gear into. I'm also not sure why Falcon, I think, was in the C tier category last month, so I have moved him up to the B tier. As far as power armor goes, he is probably the most useful one due to his turn bar special, which is useful also in other areas, including challenges, and I think his kit means he probably will continue to be useful down the line. And who knows, there might be some sort of nod to the TV show, the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show, which is due to come out later this month, I think. Ultimus is also being moved from D to C. This was at request by someone in my Discord who really wanted this to happen, so I don't think you have to commit any major resources to him, but clearly he's a little bit better than some of the other characters in the D category, so nothing really to talk about there. I just wanted to mention that. Yelena is also getting a demotion temporarily from B to C. This is because of skilletary. Now I've gone at length to talk about skilletary, and I know that we're getting a future rework to this team in May, but for the moment it's just really not worth your resources. I got burned super hard, and until they make those adjustments to the team, make them better, I don't think it's overly worth investing in at this time. But that's just my personal opinion based on using skilletary, and I don't think that Yelena personally has any larger use outside the team for now, just now. Sif was also moved from the B to the C tier here next to Heimdall. Just that she is kind of part of the supporting cast of the team for Asgardians. I don't think she necessarily deserves more resources than, say, Thor, Loki, or Hela. Now, Ghost Rider has also had a bit of a demotion from the A tier to the B tier. While he, I probably could have done this earlier, but I think that he is still a great standalone character. Where's Ghost Rider? Over here. But I think that the value just might not be there for everyone. B is still a really solid place to be. Just think that not everyone needs to invest in him, and I hope that they bring out another supernatural character, perhaps to replace Scarlet Witch, to really round out that team again, because I do like the supernatural team and I really like Ghost Rider, but it's just not a lot of huge reasons to actually gear them up at this point. I also originally had Iceman in the A category, but while he is good, I feel that the newer members of the team from this patch deserve that slot probably a little bit more. So I have placed him back down alongside Kitty Pryde in the B category. So now we're finally going to be moving on to the actual characters for this patch, which includes Bishop, Jubilee, White Tiger, and Moon Knight. So starting off with Bishop, I've decided to give him the A rating this time around. I have talked with others who have invested more into the Astonishing X-Men than myself, and he is definitely the second to gear after Jubilee. But he does have some standalone value, more so than the other members, and for that reason I think he gets this nod into the A tier. Now this might change next patch if my opinion on Bishop changes, but we're going to leave him here for now. And being a blaster, he really needs those resources to be good and strong to kill all the things that you're using this team for. So Jubilee is second up, and once again you see her in the A category here. I actually think as far as newer legendaries go, though, she is the weaker one. I feel she's not as good standalone personally as Doc Ock, and maybe I'm missing the plot a little bit with her, but her kit isn't all that amazing in other game modes outside of raids, and I feel that comparatively to Doc Ock, he is slightly better. And maybe I'm a little bit biased here because everyone knows that I really love the Doc Ock Sinister Six team, but which is why Doc Ock is in the A+ category and Jubilee is in the A for me. That being said, if you are considering building this team at all, then Jubilee will still be worth putting your resources into her, as they perform really, really well in what they are meant to do, which is raids. They can clear Ultimus a lot faster than the symbiotes can at lower power levels. So if you happen to have unlocked Jubilee, definitely work on this team, and if you haven't unlocked her, she will come back around for a second pass, probably in the next 2 to 3 months, so look out for that. And now third in this patch is White Tiger. I am personally giving her a B tier rating over here, which again, I want to make clear is by no means bad. Anything B or above is worth your resources, so I think that White Tiger is worth your resources at some point. I think some hybrid teams can probably be made with her if you're not planning to build the full Shadowland team. But outside of Alliance War, I think you might find her use a little bit more limiting. She will be useful to Hero 7-1 though, which is the City Hero section, and Dooms 1-4 to 1-6, which I believe is Hero Mystic characters. So there are campaign uses for her, but aside from that, I wouldn't say particularly meta in places like Arena, Dark Dimension, or even Raids, but she will have a very strong presence in Alliance War offense due to her kit. And rounding out the final slot of the patch is Moon Knight, who I've also placed in the A category. I'm sure you guys saw this already as I was given, when I talk about some of the other characters, but the reason why he is here, even though like White Tiger, he is a war character, I feel like he inches out given his kit. Now, I know his ultimate isn't the most reliable when it comes to applying the debuffs, but hear me out. I think that he's got some usage here for Dark Dimension due to his kit, and even though it's a 50% chance to land this, it can be manipulated in Dark Dimension due to the ability to retry over and over again. And if you're running alongside Symbiote Spider-Man, I think that something like a 2-turn blind and other debuffs will be able to be extended by him, and that could be potentially 3 turns there. My original plan was to take him into Dark Dimension 4 City, but you guys probably are well aware that I had some pretty awful shitty luck on my red stars, and this isn't happening anymore. That being said, Shadowland as a team is the real deal. My partner does have them upgraded, and we've taken on some huge punch-ups on various war teams, and Moon Knight is quite important to this. Alternatively, I think he might also be a potentially good character for real-time Arena, for what it's worth, if they decide to go forward in that game mode as well. A fun character to use though so far, and I think personally for me, inches that A tier for me. So there we have the 4 characters from this patch, alongside all of the adjustments made for other characters. And that ends the patch 5.1 cycle for me personally. And we'll have to wait and see what patch 5.2 has in store for us, and what kind of other tier list adjustments will need to be made then, and how well my current predictions have also held up going into that time as well. This photo will, like I said, will be made available in the description below in case you guys want to look at it on your own time. So I hope that this helps you guys decide on who is good to put your resources into. And of course, until next time guys, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylan signing out.